Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, ladies. Welcome to tonight's episode of Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, and all season long, we are talking the D word. Yes, that is right, divorce. We are dedicating an entire season to women going through divorce, post-divorce, and tonight's episode is very special and near and dear. We have some amazing ladies here at the Wealth Boutique. We're going to talk all things related to money, your assets, your retirement accounts, your house. What do we do with that marital home? Cash flow, budgeting, so many good things, the planning. And I always let the ladies know that when you're going through a divorce, we're going to have a financial plan for the actual divorce journey and then that plan to set your new life up. And it's going to take some time to figure out what is it that you want. Strip out the marriage, strip out the kids, strip out the assets. What is it that you actually want? Whenever I ask the women this, they have no idea. They're so busy surviving through the divorce, taking care of the kids, the house, maybe working, and very little time or capacity do they have to even thinking beyond the divorce. And what does that even look like for them? But it's really important. So that's what we're going to do today. Sound good, ladies? And as you know, we always start with something that's really going to ground us for tonight's episode. And I couldn't help but want to share, and this is actually Barbara Stanley, who has some amazing books out there. I encourage you all to read them. But this is like some mantras that she gave. And I invite you to kind of close your eyes and place your hand on your heart and take a moment. I'm going to read these to you, and I want you to repeat them in your head. This is something I do again every morning to really set the stage. And some mornings I might be really resistant to some of them, and you might be able to see which ones. And some days I'm like, wow, I actually worked through a lot of stuff to get to a place where I really do resonate with that now and can believe it fully, and I'm confident in it as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a rampage of mantras. So again, close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath in and out, and we're going to dive in. Ready, ladies? I'm confident in my ability to make money. I always live below my means. I love money and appreciate what it does for me. I'm very optimistic about my financial future. I experience very little fear or insecurity around money. I'm determined to get paid what I am worth. I am passionate about my work. I have very supporting, nurturing relationships. I like wealthy people. I have little or no credit card debt. I intentionally get myself in situations beyond my ability and then rise to them. I'm resilient in achieving my money goals. I'm filled with gratitude for the success I've achieved. I'm able to bounce back when I fail. I work very hard, but I know I don't have to do everything myself. I know how to set limits. I am tenacious in achieving my goals. So that's quite a bit. Luckily, this is recorded, so you can re-listen to it every morning if you'd like to. But some of them, when you look at them, right, that I have very supportive, nurturing relationships. So even if you feel in your marriage right now, you don't have that, this is setting the intention for you to one day have it. Today's energy, vibration, thoughts, beliefs are what's going to shape your future reality. And that's what we're doing here as we go through these different prayers, affirmations, money mantras every week with you, is to set that intention for your future. And then your future self really will thank you one day. Or how about I have very little fear and security around money? I mean, most people, when they come to myself, our co-host this season, Donna, our guest tonight, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of emotions around money. And so they might not fully believe that when they start working with us. But what I love about this work, when you say this every single day, is you build that belief little by little. It's right, another brick to your house, your security house. And it's just going to grow stronger, taller, and bigger every time you say it. And sometimes you're going to say it believing it 100%. Sometimes it might not be a lot, but you still do the work to get it done. Or how about, I know how to delegate and set limits. That was a very hard one for myself, to build out a team and to start to delegate and trust that what needs to get done will get done. And so I encourage you all to create this daily money practice, something that we bring to you every single night on Women Behind the Millions, or every single week on Women Behind the Millions. I started doing it during the pandemic. I just had my second child. We were switching financial firms. There was a lot of chaos going on in my life, and my husband being a first responder, I needed something that grounded me. And I owe a lot of what we've built to this very centering, expansive also, practice as well. And with that, it is time. I'm going to bring my co-host for this season, Donna Cates, up onto tonight. Hello, Donna. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. And I want to add to the mantra that you were sharing with us. My favorite is, I attract money and I am a money magnet. So that's just a couple additions.
Yes, I attract money and I am a money magnet. Money just flows into my life. I can't help it. It just comes in. It just pours in. Various amounts. I love from expected and unexpected places. It comes in as well. Donna, is there something that you do every day or once a week that helps you with your mindset around money, your emotions, your beliefs around money?
I actually do affirmations every single morning, the I am affirmations. And I find that doing that really centers me. It doesn't matter what mood I wake up in, if I'm excited about the day or just kind of in the dumps or whatever. I find that if I take a few meditative moments just to focus on saying the things out loud, like the exercise that you just took us through, that can be so motivating, and it shifts your mindset and just puts you in a different space for the whole day.
Oh, and it's funny. We just had a firm meeting and we were talking about, it's not money related, but it is Enneagram work, yes. Which is amazing. We've had Lauren Wood on the show before as well. And she mentioned non-judgmental observation. And what you just reminded me as you're talking about, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, it kind of raises that frequency. It raises your energy. And I think it's very interesting. It's such a good practice to not be so judgmental of, why am I in another bad mood? Why is it so much? Why am I exhausted and feeling bad about it? But just observing it and getting curious as to why I'm in this place. And then, as you said, embracing different practices to help get me where I want to be as well. So when do you do it, Donna? Did you say in the morning?
In the morning, yes. I have my coffee. I get through my coffee first, and then I take my few minutes to do that.
Your caffeine intake and then that. How about at night? Do you do anything before you go to bed?
I do my gratitude journal at nighttime. That's when I say all of the things that I was grateful for the day. And sometimes I'm a little challenged because it might not have been the best day, but there's always something to be grateful for. And when I'm sitting down to write it, even if I'm having to look for it, it does remind me that we always have something to be grateful for.
Oh, and do you find that you sleep differently doing the gratitude journal?
Definitely so. Definitely.
I love that. That's part of my daily money practice in the morning is the gratitude. And I need to make a better practice of before I close my eyes, right? What are the things I get to thank God for the day? And you're right. Sometimes it's hard to think of them, but once you get going, that's right. Like even having this comfy pillow or this comforter over me to be asleep as well. Something I learned from my good friend who went through divorce, what really helped her going to sleep at night was listening to sleep meditations, because your mind is racing and you know that, right? It's so stressful. All the different things you have to do, not to mention you're mourning this relationship, all the changes happening, the decisions to be made. Your mind is constantly racing, and having a sleep meditation or storytelling, somebody that tells a story on an app can be very, very helpful as well. What do you see helping your ladies, Donna, get through sleep at night?
Actually, I've never even focused on that. That's something that I need to incorporate into my practice. I know, what we talk about a lot is the fact that we are emotional beings, and in divorce, anytime we're dealing with divorce, the emotions are just running rampant, and can get a little crazy. So I think acknowledging that, expressing and feeling the feelings and being present with them is really important. And we talk about, not stuffing the emotions, but then too, we also talk about being able to separate out the emotions while we're making the legal decisions or the financial decisions. So, but we've not really talked about, the sleep aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm curious. One is the most important 8 hours, however many hours of sleep you get of the day. I think you go into that not in the right mindset. You toss and turn all night long, and then the next day it feels so much worse than it has to be. So yeah, that's what I love the work that we do, because we're integrating all these different aspects of it, not just the financial piece, but because everything impacts the money, right? If you're feeling down that day, if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressful, you're afraid, right? You're not going to make a good decision, or you might not make a decision at all for it either. Donna, what are you looking forward to with tonight's guest, Sarah Elia, that we're going to bring out here shortly?
Well, the fact that we're actually talking about divorce and how that impacts everybody in the family unit, I think it's really going to be a great conversation to have, and just taking inspiration from life experiences. That's what I'm excited about.
Oh, yes. We're going to trade a lot of different case studies, life experiences tonight, as all three of us focus on the money. The money. And with that, let's bring Sarah on to the stage with us tonight. Hello, Sarah. Let me introduce you really quickly. Sarah is our client relationship manager and paraplanner here at the Wealth Boutique. She is coming to us from a divorced family, and geared her career towards financial literacy with a desire to help and focus on women understanding, learning, engaging more in their own financial affairs. Thank you, Sarah, so much for being here with us tonight on Women Behind the Millions.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you both.
Sarah, I'm going to dive right in, if that's okay with you ladies. What age were you when your parents got divorced?
So I was actually 28, but my parents were separated since I was about 13. So it was a long game.
What took so long for your parents?
I think that my mom was very nervous to seek legal help, which I notice a lot of women can't really move forward. And she struggled with that. So there was a lot of back and forth, like, is the relationship over? Is the relationship not over? Even though we knew it was over, it was just really going to the courthouse and making it final, which I think it was very difficult.
Donna, do you notice this trend a lot with women? Kind of, it's a slow burn to the actual divorce.
Absolutely. And then, sometimes we're not seeking divorce as women, and it's kind of thrown at us. But when you're in an unhappy marriage and you just don't have the resources to say, okay, we're going to end this. It's a huge decision. It's life transformation, it impacts everybody. But I think there are so many things that we're afraid of, that we just don't know, that we're afraid to pull the trigger. And having a support system around you where you're getting education about all of the things that we don't know that we need to know when we're making those decisions, it's easy just to kick the can down the road. Because we're dealing with what we know, so we're not being forced into that unknown area.
Yes. I've noticed that, as you mentioned, Donna, when the divorce is thrown at the wife, she doesn't want to, or she's not ready for it, and she's taking it all in. But I've also heard from them, because again, all the work falls on the woman, to be honest, right? Finding the mediator, filing the paperwork, getting all the stuff together. They're like, well, I'm not going to rush through this. He wanted it. He should have to do the work. And then it's in this weird limbo for so long. Did money play a big role in the delay for the divorce?
A huge role. And the education behind money, my mom was very used to my dad being the breadwinner, the worker, very traditional, and she was a stay-at-home mother. There weren't a lot of resources. And when you stay at home, you give up time in the work field. Her college degree became so obsolete by the time she was ready to go back.
Oh, she must have been terrified. And very scared, to say the least, yes. Did you have your sister, right? Is she older or younger?
My sister's younger.
Younger. Okay, so you're the older sister. Did you know before they told you that the divorce was coming?
Definitely. My parents went into like a restaurant venture together, and that, again, around money, the money wasn't working out, and that just led to the demise of their separation, unfortunately.
Wow. It's tricky going into business with any kind of family, not to mention a husband and a wife for it either. So you're 13. What's going through your mind at 13?
Like, what is my relationship going to look like? I've only known my parents together. What does that look like separate? And I think that for children is like one of the most fearful parts of divorce, because it changes. People move on, or they get a new spouse. Maybe the other spouse has children. Your life changes.
Yes. And Sarah, you're one of our co-authors for Donna's new book, Divorce Decoded. And we love that you have the perspective from the child going through a divorce. Because what's the biggest concern, Donna, for the women with children, the moms?
Typically that's keeping the kids in the house that they know. That's one of the biggest concerns.
Yeah.
And then from the kid's perspective, it's always, what about me? I mean, that's, a kid is self-centered. That's what we're supposed to be at that, when we're young. They want to know what now, what to expect, what's the new norm. The mamas always want to keep the kids in the house most of the time.
And to not mess the kids up for the rest of their lives, right? What kind of therapy are they going to need in the future for it? How did your parents handle it? Dealing with your sister?
Yes, that we actually did stay in the childhood home. My mom did keep the home very traditional, and my dad moved forward. And it was nice that we got to, it's like almost very therapeutic when at least you get to keep your home, even though the aspect of the home is changing, but you're still in your childhood home.
Okay. All right. So it got delayed quite a few years. Now the actual divorce was a kind of, what was that like when it actually happened? And now they're just separated, living in two different households this entire time?
Yeah. So they were in two separate households. And it was, for I think my sister and I, it was relief. We were like, okay, everyone can move on. And I'm noticing that I'm recently engaged. My parents are becoming more amicable, that they are legally divorced instead of just that limbo, like we said.
Very interesting. What would you, looking back, have said to your mom along the way?
Well, I kind of almost felt like I was meant for this work. I have said a lot of things to my mother because I just wanted her to see her worth. And I always saw my mom, because we'd have these great conversations. She was very empowering. So I was like, she was always so empowering towards me. I wanted her to feel empowered to take these big steps to move her life forward. People don't work out, and that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good message for them to hear. Right. Remove the guilt, the sense of failure. Are you sitting in the courtroom, you feel like you've failed or you're in trouble? and something went wrong. How about when it comes to the finances side? This has led you into the work of becoming a financial advisor as well. How do you see how you can position yourself to help women going through this?
I'm here to be like a coach. That's what I always wanted to do. I always knew I could help women see their worth. So many women are so talented and they downplay themselves in a marriage. It almost takes away from their career, their time. But I think there's a great, especially in this world, way to be flexible and be a wonderful mother and also keep some of your own eggs in your basket just in case things aren't the way you thought.
Yes, having a form of independence along the way, or what they call intradependent, where you have your own stuff, but you still are working together as a team along the way for it too. And your goal is to work with women going through a divorce as well. What's it been like working on some cases with myself and Donna when it comes to the women going through a divorce?
Always inspiring, and there's a great want to move forward in their life, but there's so much fear behind what is my next step and what does my life look like now that I have this freedom? You know, we see a lot of women, they're starting businesses, they're doing their soul work, they're getting to be who they maybe weren't able to be in their marriage. So to me, it's just a beautiful circle of really getting to become yourself.
Yes. We talk about this a lot on these episodes, focusing on divorce, the great divorce. I'm not crazy about that term, Donna, but the divorce later on in life. But what's really, as you said, they're inspiring these women. I don't want to settle for the next phase of my life, right? I put up with it. We got the kids, we raised them, we grew apart, and I don't want to just live almost a separate life. I want to have a true partner that we're going to do things together with, and we're going to have conversations, and I'm going to be excited to see them in the room. What do you think about this, Donna? Have you been noticing it as well?
Absolutely. And I think this is the thing, a big shift. So many women are no longer playing, I shouldn't use the word playing. They're not being the victim at the outcome of a divorce. They're taking it as an opportunity to recreate themselves. And here's the thing is that we have to heal from whatever we experienced previously, because if we don't, it's something like that's going to come up again. So we have to learn and grow and heal from life experiences. But I'm seeing such a big shift in women really wanting to step into their own power and create that new reality for themselves, whatever that needs to look like. And it's different for everybody. So it's exciting. Like Sarah said, it's, just to see people make that transformation and step into their new self.
Yes. Have you seen, Sarah, even with your own mother, a change in how she shows up in the world, her confidence going through the divorce and then post-divorce now?
Definitely. And she's 3 years in, so she's like totally feeling herself. She's getting back into her old life. And it seems like she's more calm now in this new energy that she can really spend, she's 60, so she's spending this other part of life happy, which is what matters to my sister and I at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a long time to be in limbo. And you said earlier, that relief of like, okay, right, we can all move forward now. That was very stressful and emotional. It dragged on for more than it intended to. So how would you like divorce to be better for women, especially when it comes to their money? What would you like to see with the future of your career?
I'm just hoping that I could really do the education part. I think a lot of women, we're not learning this in school. If I wasn't so interested in financial literacy, I probably would have never been able to learn about finances unless I reached out to a professional or wanted to get help. I think it's important to want to be educated and use your resource, ask questions. Even now as women in this field, sometimes we're like not asking questions when we should be. It could be uncomfortable, but don't be uncomfortable. Ask the hard questions and educate yourself.
Yes. Like, why do we think asking questions is like a form of weakness, right? Not knowing, having to know all the answers all at once. It's impossible. And why not take advantage of it? Donna, do you see more women wanting to learn and be educated?
I do. And because so many women that I work with are coming through divorce, sometimes they're not happy about it initially because they kind of gave up that role and just didn't want it. But now that they're finding the power in the knowledge, I think that's the big thing. And I've throughout my entire career, I've said, we women, whether we're going to be on our own at some point, statistically speaking, just because we outlive men, and then so many marriages end in divorce. So it's not an if we need to understand everything, we're going to have to be responsible for it. So let's, like Sarah said, let's get everybody educated from an early age so that we're playing an active role in everything as we're living life. And it's not just something that we go, ooh, now I have to start paying attention to it.
Yes. And then you just have the options. Right. So we were on a call with a woman and she's like, we're going over, collateral kind of investment accounts. She's like, is this what you recommend? I'm like, it's just an option, right? It's good for you. Like, you get the information ahead of time. You have options versus trying to force something a certain way or being thrown into a situation you don't want to be in. It's like, just always having those options. And to me, options means freedom. Because the opposite of freedom is being trapped. Being trapped, there's no other option but this one pathway for it too. I think we're just understanding what options you have out there. And to me, women, they feel like they can breathe again, right? When you meet with the woman, right, Don, they come in to the office and they're like, this is what it is. This is what has to happen. And you give them a new perspective and say, actually, there's X, Y, and Z paths as well. It's like, they finally are able to take that deep breath again. And we know how important, just from the show, breath work is for ourselves too.
Well, and this just came to mind for me. If I had $1 for every time I heard a woman say, well, he said that this is how things had to be, ooh, I probably wouldn't need to be working anymore. But it's true. We just say, well, he said, and we just take his perspective. So having that fresh perspective and having somebody on your team that's offering those alternatives is really essential.
Yes, that's true. You become brainwashed. Well, my best friend said this and he said that. And especially if he's been doing all the financial decisions, we take his word as, yeah, that's what the Bible says. That's what it's got to be as well for it. So it's almost deprogramming and helping the women to start to think for themselves and to speak for themselves by educating them, right? So I was on a show recently and I'm trying to think of, it was just along those lines where they thought working with a financial advisor, it's taking the decisions away from the woman, right? This is how we're going to invest your money. This is how the insurance we're going to do, etc. So that's the opposite. We want to present the options to the woman, educate her on those options, and then she gets to decide what feels right to her. And ideally, there's going to be more than 2 options for them. And not to complicate it, but right, these, based on all the scenarios, all the different vehicles to get you where you want to be, these are the top 2 or 3. Which one feels right to you? Which one do you want to explore more? And they still get to be the decision makers. We're not removing that from them at all. Donna and Sarah, what would you say are some of the big struggles when it comes to the money for women going through it? One, we are talking the lack of education, right? We'll say, or just the difference in the roles, right? The man took on those responsibilities, so now the woman's stepping into it. Now, would you say like the marital home, being on trying to figure out the budget, what their cost of living is, etc. What would you say? We'll say Donna first and then you, Sarah.
I'm amazed that people have no clue what it's costing them to live. So understanding, and I don't even use the word budget because it's so cringeworthy and we all just go, I don't want to live by a budget. But the reality is most of us, we just, we have income, we spend and get what we want. If we can't afford it, or we don't have cash, we put it on a credit card. But we really don't know what it's costing us to live today. And that's one of the most vital things to know when you're heading into divorce, because what it's costing you to live is going to dictate what you might get in the way of support from, or whether it's alimony, settlements, whatever. But yeah, so I'm always coming back to financial planning, regardless of your situation in life, is so essential, because we got to know what it's costing us to live, to know what we need to take care of ourselves.
Oh, yes. What does your life cost to live? How does it change? No, if you have young kids, how will it change as they become adults and hopefully leave the nest and are off the payroll as well? What about you, Sarah? What are some of the struggles women face?
And just to piggyback off of what Donna said, I think it's very healthy in marriages to have a joint account and then 2 separate accounts where you can still have a little bit of control over your personal finances and don't lose touch of that. When you give all of the control up, it's very hard to regain it back. And then it's a little confusing, a little scary, but keep yourself in the know. Have your own credit card. Have some things in your pocket that are your own personal tools that you're using in the marriage, but you know how to use as well too.
Yes, as both of you are talking, I watched the show Bridgerton on Netflix. I don't know if you two are familiar with the show. So it takes place way back in high society in London, England, and probably the 1900s. And going back to the role is like, well, we have come a long way. It's taken a long time to get to where we are as women, and being able to work, being obviously have our own credit cards, our own mortgages in our names, etc. For too, but thinking of like how much control that man held in this one episode. The wife is telling the daughter, if you don't marry this season, that he's already cut our allowance down by half. Thinking, right, that is financial abuse in today's world, right? I think our biggest thing is we can get anything out on this season and through the book, Donna, is that if you don't have control or a say in the money, that is a form of financial abuse. And I think women don't realize that they're just stuck in this relationship and it's all that they know. But if you don't have access to it, they don't show you what's in the accounts, if you get an allowance, if you don't have ties to the money or access, right, that is a form of control and manipulation and abuse. And I want every woman for that to sink in. And if you know somebody in that, there are resources. Donna, will always jump on a phone call, have access to resources for you to understand what's going on when it comes to your money as well. So Donna, how do you help women overcome the struggle of understanding where their expenses are, what it costs for them to live as well?
We literally do what I call a deep dive into all of the financials. So this is where we're going to literally say, I want just take your credit cards, your bank account, and look at everything that you spent, and we're going to categorize it. So and it's a tough exercise for people to go through because, I always use myself as an example, working from home. I had the pest control guy show up at the house 2 weeks ago, and I had to stroke a check, when he finished doing his business for me. But if you had asked me to write down my expenses, pest control as a home ownership expense would have been the last thing I thought of. So we really want to kind of dig down deep in all of the expenses, so we're not overlooking the things that we have to pay for versus discretionary expenses. So that's where I always start, is let's do that deep dive and get our head around what we're spending, and then we can find out all of the information on the accounts that we have and such. That's the easy part.
Oh, good. How about you, Sarah?
And I would say, just to go off of Donna again, looking at what your expenses are when you're married, and then when you're thinking about transitioning into divorce. This was something I spoke with my mom about for years. It's going to look so different. You might have to live a little bit differently. Like you said, the pest control, you don't think about that expense, and it is an expense. You might have to reevaluate what your expenses look like on your own so that you can afford your new life that you're on the journey to.
Oh, yes. Beautiful, ladies. Beautiful. Well, we started to get a little bit into some tips and strategies here with Donna and Sarah, amazing financial experts. We're going to take a quick break. Don't leave, because Sarah's going to give her divorce tip, her trend that she's noticing, especially with the work at the Wealth Boutique. So stay tuned, ladies. We will be right back.
Each lady at the Women's Wealth Boutique shares their asset, their magic that they bring to the world. Bringing women together for the greater good is my greatest asset. Uniting women to make huge impacts on women with their wealth. Money is power. Money is a tool to get you the life you desire, to make your own impact, your own legacy. You are worthy of this wealth. If you don't believe me, you can hear it from every single woman at the Women's Wealth Boutique. Hearing new beliefs from experts is another way to rewire your brain. So let's begin with your own healing. You are worthy to invest in yourself. You are worthy of millions, of billions. You are worthy of God's blessings. You are worthy of all the desires you've ever had. You are worthy. We aren't called financial trendsetters for nothing at the Women's Wealth Boutique. Each journey with these ladies, you will see new, innovative, trailblazing strategies that we use with our clients. Our mission is to impact millions of women around the world with their wealth. We are doing things differently at the Women's Wealth Boutique. We are challenging the status quo at the Women's Wealth Boutique. We are here for change to disrupt the financial industry.
All right, welcome back, ladies. It is our time of the show where our guests will give us their divorce tip. So I cannot wait, Sarah, for you to go into yours tonight. What do you have for us?
So my divorce tip is coming from a personal place. My tip is to phone a professional. Don't phone your friend. Don't phone your mom. Don't phone your sister. When you're thinking about divorce and you're ready to get working, get in touch with a professional. Call a mediator. Call a financial planner. Call someone that's going to be able to set up a plan that you're able to then execute instead of kind of using your family and friends as a soundboard, because that's great and whatnot, but that's not really improving your situation too much. Take the step and take the jump to get that real professional help.
Yeah, you're going to hear the war stories from everybody. It's kind of like child labor, right? Everyone tries to one-up each other when it comes to who had the worst divorce. And you need that objective third party who's not so tied into the different relationship dynamics as well. Donna, who would you say is the first professional that you would recommend?
I literally think the first professional is always going to be that certified divorce financial analyst, because we're the ones that are going to help allay the fears that you have around all of the money stuff. And the money stuff typically keeps people frozen and unable to make decisions. So I think starting there, and it will also help you save money when working with your legal counsel, because you'll come into those legal meetings much more prepared.
Yes, they will be very happy that you have everything organized and ready to go. Makes their life easier, makes your pocketbook much happier, your wallet much happier as well, to do that prep work ahead of time, especially if that's not your forte, the money, or haven't been engaged with it much. I've had women roll in a suitcase. Like, I found these papers around the house. I don't know what they mean yet. And then you just spread them out on the conference room table and you get to work to figure it out. But what I love about money is it does leave a trail, right, ladies? It does leave a trail. So if you aren't sure, chances are you could probably find out what's going on for it as well. Sarah, how about the trend that you're noticing when it comes to divorce? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm noticing that women feel more empowered to go through divorce now too. They're worried about their careers. And like from a younger standpoint, people are more focused in this generation on having a career. And if their marriage doesn't work, they know they have something to fall back on, which was different than before when you didn't really have much to fall back on. So there is that push to be able to go through divorce, and that there's opportunity on the other side through your career.
Ooh, good one. Good one, Sarah. How about you, Donna? We've talked a lot about the great divorce, that being a trend, women becoming more proactive in the divorce. Anything else that you've been noticing when it comes to the money, Donna, in divorce?
I think women are much more aware of the fact that it's going to cost them to get through the divorce, but they're more willing to spend the money because they know they're going to end up in a better place on the other side. So they're not as fearful about having to pay for all of the divorce expenses.
Oh, good one. Good one. And going back to the fears, and I agree with you, Donna, a lot of the the paralysis around women moving forward, the divorce stems from the money. Yes, there's a relationship as well, but that sense of financial security is huge for them. Something we haven't really talked about yet on the show, that especially given that we all have the finance background, is how important it is for women to be able to project out and kind of test what that settlement means for them, not just tomorrow, but come 10, 20, 30 years down the road, or when retirement hits. Donna, you want to talk a little bit about that work that you do with women?
Absolutely. And this is what distinguishes a certified divorce financial analyst from your traditional financial planner, is that when we're looking at the decisions that you're making as you navigate divorce, which assets you may accept or be willing to give up, or whether you're keeping the house or buying your spouse out, all of those things, we're literally taking that information and saying, okay, if we divide everything today, because that's what the court system does, is it says equitable distribution or 50-50, we're going to divide everything. So the attorney may say, hey, you're getting 500,000 or 5 million in assets, and you're getting that, and that's equal, but that's not always the case. So what we're doing from the certified divorce financial analyst designation position is looking at what's that financial impact going to look like for you today, tomorrow, 15 years from now, 30 years from now. If everything from cash flow to taxation, literally getting under the hood.
Yes. And so you want to, because you're the one who's inputting a lot of these figures, being our paraplanner, into the plan, how important the difference in the taxes for the different accounts are as well.
Definitely. And, a lot of the money could sometimes be retirement money, which is going to affect the way that you want to pull out the money. So really sitting down and planning what income to turn on from where, what's maybe more like money that you're going to pay taxes on, up front this year, or you're going to have to stretch it out long term to figure out, again, what your best tax solution is going to be.
All right, $1 in a retirement account. Is it worth $1? Not quite. Usually worth, 70% of that dollar, depending on your tax bracket. The house, that's taxed differently than cash in the bank account, than an IRA, 401k, pension. So understand, how are these really dollar for dollar? $1 million in a bank account is not the same as $1 million in a 401k. They're taxed very differently as well. So a lot goes into how to divide the money as well. So I would recommend every woman, go through this process with Donna before you sign any settlement agreement, because once that's signed, it is very, very hard to change it. And I guess another thing I would say, a lot of objections we get for women are, what, I'm not the one putting the settlement together. What did our litigator, Anita, say? 95% of cases are settled before the judge comes into play. 95. So majority are, you have a lot of say into what's going on with your money, or equal say. So look at that before you sign anything. Please, lady, if you listen to anything, please listen to that as well. All right, we're going to take one more quick branch as a quick shout out to our first anthology book, which spun off Divorce Decoded. financial trendsetters. Let's meet the ladies of financial trendsetters. All right, we are back. So Financial Trendsetters, our first anthology multi-author book here at Pink Fix Productions, and it led to Divorce Decoded. How much fun has it been writing Divorce Decoded, Donna and Sarah? What's your experience been like?
My personal experience has been it's been fun to collaborate with so many different professionals that are in the divorce space. We don't oftentimes think of a stylist when we're thinking about divorce, but we're actually working with a stylist to help us recreate ourselves post-divorce. So that's been fun. And then just the sharing of the knowledge and the stories and knowing that we're going to have a positive impact on so many people's lives.
Oh, yes. Love that, Donna. You're right. And Katie Gables, she's amazing. She'll be here on our show as well. You know, how triggering clothes are. Money's triggering. We know that. So our clothes and our appearance, and building back that confidence with Marianne as well, who we'll get here on the show shortly too. How about you, Sarah? What's it been like for you?
It's been exciting, slightly emotional, but very empowering to be able to come together in this space with other women who just truly want to help women.
Yes. I've been loving learning from all the different professionals, you know, when should they come into play during the journey of the divorce, different expertise and the knowledge, these little nuggets that you pick up on as they're sharing tips and their own stories as well. And the women being so vulnerable and courageous, sharing their personal stories. So cannot wait for Divorce Decoded to come out fall of 2024 this year too. And as we round out this episode with Sarah and my co-host Donna as well, we have one more question for you, Sarah.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
There's Andy girl wanting to know, what makes you a woman behind the millions?
I would say my drive to really create a life that I don't need a vacation from. That's my mantra. I want to wake up and do what I love. This to me is soul work. I love being able to be in front of women, have these conversations where I'm not in a room in a black suit, not being able to show any emotion. This is emotional work, and these times are trying, they're hard. And I'm happy that I'm able to connect with women and be a safe space. And I love being here with both of you. Thank you again for having me.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. And so you're going to be stepping into that advisory role here at the Wealth Boutique too. What are you most looking forward to taking on this new role?
I'm really looking forward to connecting with women of all ages. I'm loving that women are really taking time in their younger 20s to also work on their careers. So I think that's going to be my focus. You know, the younger generation, helping them get in touch with wanting to build wealth, wanting to create that dream life, whatever that may look like. And even the women going through the other stages of life, how do you keep living your dream life? Or if you weren't, what does that look like?
It's like a new kind of caliber of women that are now coming up, and we're going to be able to really shape the future, even this country, this world. Right. I remember going back to Barbara Sand, I believe in one of her books, she's mentioned that women get back 4 times more than men. We're so heart focused, relationship focused that, you know, having women have more money in their hands, it's a good thing for everyone. It's a good thing for everyone. So I love that you're focusing on that younger generation that are coming up through the ranks as well. Any final thoughts, Donna, on tonight's episode?
I will say that we're just all glad that y'all are tuning in and watching, and we're hoping that you'll spread the word.
Yes. Beautifully said, Donna. Yes, spread the word. Get these resources out to the women, and then Divorce Decoded. And it's amazing. Not only you have the book, the resources, you have your dream team. right there. You'll know who to contact, when to contact them. Just this amazing community that we have, that we're building here at Pink Fix Productions with our lead author, Donna Cates. Sarah, also in our book, Divorce Decoded Ladies, coming fall of 2024. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for supporting us, for tuning in to Women Behind the Millions. You are all incredible money queens, and we will see you on next week's episode. Have a good night, ladies.
Hey, money queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more million